What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Velan Joe here, and you guys are now watching another episode of Be The Source. And on today's show, I'm joined in with the one and only talented Tha Mystro.
What's good, man?
What's happening? Man's all the way from France down to the show. How was your journey here?
It was good.
Yeah?
Oh, thanks for the Uber. It was good. It was good.
You're welcome. Did you miss London weather?
Not really. I was prepared for it. I knew I was going to be facing the whole rain and the sun, but then I was quite shocked. It was sunny the whole time. So.
It was mad sunny today. That's what you can see. I'm mad sweating cool right now. But how come you're in London? How come you're downtown?
I had a booking, yesterday.
Yeah?
So I came for a show called Adam, and so I came for that, and also my family lives there.
Okay.
So I came to visit them and also spend some time with them since I live in France. I don't get to.
And it was Father's Day yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to give
Good
a small gift as well.
How is it like then? Like the whole transition from UK to France? When did you move?
Well, I was born in France. For people who didn't know, I was born in France, and I grew up there to the age of 9, 10.
Okay.
Then in 2004, they know my age now. In 2004, I moved to London, and somewhat I was always connected back to France. No matter where I moved or where I lived, I always had that little sentiment with France. And when I moved back to France, I felt like I was more home. It was more home to me. I felt more surrounded with a lot of positive vibes. So it wasn't like a big change. It felt good.
Okay.
So it was a good change.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
And so how did you get into like music? Like, how did it all start for you?
Since a young age, since I was 4 or 5, my brother was into hip hop, like dancing and stuff, and he was always listening to.
Is he older than you?
He's 10 years older than me.
Okay,
So
sick.
he was more into that old generation of hip hop and rap and R&B. So I always overheard it in the house. So he was into Craig David, Marcus Houston.
Okay.
You know, that generation of R&B.
Yeah.
And when it came to rap, it was actually like Biggie, Tupac, that set of
era,
generation. So I always heard it, but I didn't know that was my thing, because I was really into Tamil music more than French or English. I was really into this whole Tamil music, Brahman, any type of music. And then when I moved to London, the interest of music kind of grew into me when I started seeing people from my generation and the previous generation doing Tamil music, but in the independent field.
Okay.
For example, let's say one of my biggest inspiration would be Yogi B from Malaysia. And when YouTube started, he was one of the he was one of those rappers that we had to bang out his music every day.
Yeah.
And
what was that song? He shot the one in the barbershop.
How
did you know I was gonna say that?
It was the music that we were listening to. I think it was the song that actually came across to a lot of people as Tamil rap at that time. So I heard those type of music. There was also MC Sai starting that time. And when I heard all of them, I was like, okay, I felt connected to it. And I started writing poetry, and I started writing, and that really influenced me to...
What did you start writing about?
I think that's in 2008 and 9. It was when back home the war was going on really intensely, and I put out all the emotions that was going through my head to paper. And the funny thing is, the studio that I all started working at was at my whole high school. So I went to Oaks Park High School, and it's known for music. Where, like, for people who want to learn music, people could come there and actually get their basics done. And there was a studio there, and it was engineered by Mr. Bender, if I'm right.
Mr. Bender.
And he's white, but he has nothing to do with sound music at all. So I was telling myself, I need a studio to record. I want to try recording and put out my content out somehow. And so with Mr. Bender, he didn't have no connection with Tamil music. So when I went there and was like, I started writing some stuff in Tamil, would you mind like putting me into the studio and record? So I expected a no. He would, it would have been weird for him, and he doesn't know how to connect with us. He was like, yeah, let's go for it.
Okay.
And I recorded, I shouldn't miss out some names right now. at that time, I had a circle of Tamil friends that time, so I had, Nero.
Of course I know Nero.
Nero.
Shout out Nero if you're watching.
I haven't seen him, man, since I came here, so I'm sure if you've seen
No,
this.
yeah. He's gonna call us. Why don't you call me? I'm calling you now. Come in there.
And then there was Nero, there was Arun, there was Vijay, and there's these three guys that I always surrounded with. There's one other guy called Arun. He was into music as well, so we both were like, let's try and record something in the studio. That's when we approached Mr. Bender. We went in, we recorded, and obviously, if I listen back to it right now, it was complete shit. But for Mr. Bennett to actually listen to that, record it, and give us advices on how to go with the flows and stuff and how to record, I was like, okay, I started feeling comfortable in that studio.
Okay.
So from that time, at the age of 14, if I was right, from 14 to 18, I always spent time in the studio whenever I got time till the time I finished high school. And that's how I was like, okay, I can do this. If a white guy is able to understand
It's
my
always
passion
better
in music,
when a white guy understands.
why can't I put across my music to my own people? So it started from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what? So the whole movement from back home was what kind of the war and stuff. It was what initially inspired you to get into music, and then how did your sound kind of change from that?
The thing was, I was writing, but when that specific thing was happening back home, the whole war, the whole killings, I think it was a deep emotion among the youngsters, but they couldn't put it out through words. They didn't know how to explain it, and my only way was to write, and it's not to actually put it out for people to listen. It was for myself to express to myself on my emotions in that section. But then, of course, that wasn't my actual style. That's where it started. But then, when years went on, I started writing about different stuff, and that's when I knew, okay, this is what I can do, and that's how.
So does something have to have a major impact in your life for you to kind of write a song about it, or does it kind of like inspire you to be like, okay, maybe I need to do a project on this now because there was a certain thing that happened in your life that kind of changed you as a person? Like what kind of like sparked something in you and be like, okay, I need to do a song about this?
I guess, like you said, certain stuff will inspire you, certain stuff will be a challenge. I'll be honest, when I was 16, 17, I started writing about going to the club where I can't even step into that club at that age. So I had to imagine myself being in the club with girls, dancing and whatever. But if you listen to the song, you would know that you can't connect to it. Because you know that I didn't go through that.
Yeah.
And
I solely believe that the people that listen to artists can see through that as well.
Exactly.
Because I see a lot of artists portraying themselves as
doing something
that
which is not them.
Not the case, just so that they can be relatable in the scene, so they can get the views, this and that. But then you're right, the audience, the people that listen to,
they will know. They're not
through.
stupid. Yeah. And certain stuff, let's say.
So then when you work on like music productions, I always see that you bring on a lot of people into the production in terms of the music, the video, everything, the artwork. Like how do you source people out? How do you like think about people in a project?
Like I said, when I started, I was always when I started it was in 2008, 2009, and I always wanted to look at other people and learn. So there was a lot of artists that time, and I always had my eye on a few artists that I was like, okay, one day I need to work with them, and if I work with them, this is how I want to have those projects. And when time went on, when I started making, like after 6-7 years, and when I started having my own style, and when the other artists
So it took you 67 years to find your own.
It took me a lot of time, because it was not a mistake, it was more like I was always at the back, finding out what I want to do, and always pushed out my co-artist or whoever was there to go at the front. It took me a bit of time to come at the front, I guess. And after 6-7 years, for example, my first official music video was Orubarte. And to work on that, I knew who I wanted to work with that time. So it was for an album. It was for my first official album, Volleyball. So I worked with Carlton from Germany. So when I went there, when we recorded the song, I knew, okay, this song was going to be the video. And I knew who was going to be the director for it too. Because I wanted someone who can understand my imagination. and then who I wanted for the DOP. So when
Do you write your own screenplay for the video, or do you leave it to the director?
for Uruvarte, I did give my little idea,
Yeah.
but Tixi, who did the screenplay, she did a good job. I wanted something that brings out that urban feel into the Tamil
Market, yeah,
market. So somehow I believe it worked. I hope it worked. So that released in 2013, if I'm right. And for your question, I try to understand if the artist I'm going to work with understand
Your vision.
my vision. If I know that they can understand it, then I'm like, why not? Let's go for it.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's cool. So then that comes on to the point, and like, so you've been doing this, trying to find your sound for about 6 or 7 years. You never gave up. You never lost hope in the scene. You're like, I'm gonna find my sound. I'm gonna be an artist. What kept pushing you during that time, saying, this is what I want to do? Because I feel like a lot of people, because of social media, they think it's quite easy to become an artist, to become a videographer or something, just because like everyone's just putting out content without thinking about it. I feel like people get easily influenced. But then when you actually dive into the field and start doing things, it's a very, very long, tiring, stressful process. So what kept like pushing you, saying, this is the right path for me, just keep going?
I think this is like I don't know if it's a typical answer because I've seen some of our episodes.
Okay.
I think we all had a certain point in life where you realize this is what you want when you go through a lowest point in life. And I saw one of the other episodes where Julian spoke about the whole depression, university and stuff. And I went through a similar phase where
Okay. That's interesting.
I was not really into studies, I'll be very honest. Studies wasn't my thing at all.
Okay.
But I tried somehow.
Did you choose music in?
No. The thing is, when I started doing music, my parents, they knew I was doing music, but of course, as any typical other Asian parents, they expect the kid to at least be successful through at least
Academics,
a degree or something. But I understood that because they know that they've seen people who actually failed through arts. And in my mind,
Is it that, or is it them saying? Because I know my parents. I'm just speaking from what I've experienced. They're like, "Why are you doing this? It doesn't make you any money."
that is the point too. They were like, "How are you gonna eat? This is not gonna feed you." But in my mind, it was more like, "You need to be happy." That's the first thing I see. You need to be happy. And when I was still I was doing music on the side. I was doing my studies. I went to university, and when I went to university, I went to Hertfordshire. So when I went to university, the whole timing of doing music every week, it stopped. I couldn't. I didn't get no chances. I was living I rented a room in a house, and there was no chance of setting up something and record or go to the studio. So for about, I live far, and the whole pressure knowing that, shit, you're in university, this is the other stage of your life. And some sort of pressure from the society kept getting into my mind, like say family or what people would say to my parents. And I always look at, it's not that I really care about what they say, it's more about I want my parents to be happy no matter what.
And proud.
I'm proud, of course. I don't want them to be like, did we make a
mistake?
A mistake, because that's not what I want them to make them feel. But when I started uni, I knew this was not my path. So the first 2-3 months, of course, I was like any other starters. We went clubbing and stuff. People thought I was happy and stuff, but inside I was like, I was doing something completely wrong. And every time I was with my friends, I came back home, I felt like I was in some sort of darkness. And I knew that I was actually missing out on what gave me happiness, which was music. 2-3 months took me time, and I was looked at for help. I got my help.
Okay, how did you find help?
Certain incidents that happened through my actions, which I don't really want to get into, but certain actions happened, and it led me to go through counseling, psychiatrist.
Okay,
and
that's good to hear, though, because a lot of people don't talk about these kind of subjects, and I'm happy that the people that I bring on this show do and feel comfortable talking about it.
It's important because our generation is easily falling into it. Is easily falling into it because the society has become that at that point where you can be pushed into anything, into depression. You have social media that could really mess up someone's life in the easiest way.
100%.
You have people that have bad thoughts and they wanna see you going down. There's a lot of things that could easily push people into depression, but they don't know it's depression until you hit the deep end.
When you was going through the counseling stages, was there anything specific that kind of triggered you saying, damn, I'm actually depressed, I need to kind of switch up my lifestyle?
It's when it was mainly when I knew that I wasn't living the life that I wanted. When you know that you're not living the life how you want it, the thoughts in your mind is more, you're thinking it from other perspective of views.
Yeah. What other people think of you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, nah, what I'm doing is wrong. I should be doing it how they think. That's not exactly how you should live. And when I went counseling or when I went to the psychiatrist, I had to be told the truth for me to accept it.
Okay.
So I needed someone to tell me, no, you're doing it wrong. This is what you should do. This is how you should live your life. And no, you're not going to fail. And that's the...
Because you know the voice in your head.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always against you. It's always trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you like mediocre, so you just blended with everyone else. But I feel like once you overpower the voice in your head and you make it think for yourself, then you're like, then you actually feel happy.
That's true. You have to tell yourself that you can overcome whatever obstacles that's gonna be there. And
what would you say, like, one of the first things that you did to change your lifestyle?
I quit uni. I told myself, this is not where I should be. I quit it. And
how did the conversation go with your parents?
I came back. No. I was not worried about I was worried about the reaction, but I knew they were not gonna take it seriously because I know in their mind they would think about my happiness too. So, because when they knew that I was kind of doing bad, I was going through a bad timing.
Yeah.
There was a specific time when I came back home for a weekend.
Yeah.
And I was emotionally drained. I had to let it out. So I think I remember there was my mom in the kitchen, my dad sitting in the living room, and I went in and I think I broke into tears and said, I can't do this. I'm living a fake life. And
what room did you go into first?
The kitchen. I spoke to my mom first, and obviously she broke knowing that I broke.
Yeah.
So I told myself, I can't do this. This is not what I want. And they said, okay, fine. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to. Like, what matters to us is your happiness. And that very day, I contacted my producer, which I wanted to work on my first album. I said, listen, I quit uni. I want to come to Germany. I want to work on this album. I want to start making music again. And he was like, let's do it. And that decision that I took that moment, that's what I realized. That's what made me realize that music is what I wanted 100%, like as 100% thing in my life.
And you never looked back ever since.
I never looked back. I never, like, if anyone even sometimes people would ask me, so would you like, don't you want to finish your uni? And I'm like, no, don't even talk about studies. Like, in my mind, you talk about studies, I see you as an evil guy.
Yeah.
So
how do your parents talk to you now then with the whole music scene?
They're cool because they started. The thing is, they started seeing that little income.
Yeah.
That income coming through, and they know that I'm able to.
You just build upon that.
I to be very honest, for the past 3 years, I've been doing music as a full time. I haven't worked. I haven't done anything. I've just done my music, and whatever income I got through my music was what I ate and how I'm living till now.
That's really hard to do.
And
because I know that's hard to do. Like, that's mad.
But the thing is,
what I'm pretty sure a lot of people said, yo, why don't you just get like a part-time job here just so you can get, like, you know, some residual income coming in.
I did. I actually, in the past, there was a point of time I would take a part-time job for about 4 or 5 months because I know that time you might need it.
Yeah,
you might need it.
You need to fund your productions
exactly. But every time I go to work, even if I take a part-time job, I'm like, yo, I don't want to work. Like, it hits you. You tell yourself, you know, like, I'd rather struggle than go to work. Because every time you go to work, you're like, I don't want to earn money through this way, you know? And Yeah.
That's sick. Where do you see yourself going? What's the path that you're on? Where do you want to be?
When I started, I was rapping. So I started rapping. Then when I realized I could compose melodies and sing, I started singing.
What does that mean, composing melodies? Because I don't know.
So how it works is you have a producer who produces the music. But how I work is I'll compose the melody. So I have the tune first. So let's say...
So you hit up a producer and be like,
yeah, I'll be like, I've got a tune.
Yeah.
I've composed the melody. I've wrote the lyrics. I give you the tune. Give me the right music that I'm expecting to have for that tune. And once that's done, that's how I work usually. Or sometimes I have the music first. They'll be like, yo, I have a beat for you. Listen to it. Can you do something for it?
Okay.
So there's 2-3 ways.
what do you prefer?
Composing the melody first and then doing, because that's what comes out from
Naturally.
me. Like,
Yeah.
And when I give it to the producer, if I see him connecting with it, then it works out.
How long does it take to compose a melody?
I don't know, man. I could do it within 10 minutes,
Yeah.
5 minutes. It depends. So some tunes, most of my melodies which I've released, they've probably come out from my phone. It's like voice notes. I've been walking on the road, something would hit me, I record the voice note, and I just develop it from there. Yeah.
Okay, sick. So then you hit up the producer, he sends you the beat, then
Then we start from there. I go to the studio, or I start writing, go to the studio, record it. Whoever's featuring in it, I get in touch with them. I put them into the studio, and I'll make sure that the track is done within 2-3 months, because I don't want that heat of the moment
to be lost.
Lost, because it's so easy to lose interest in one of your projects.
100%.
And then move to another one.
But then when it takes a good 2-3 months for a solid project, how do you keep consistent with your fans and stuff? How do you like...
That's
because
the
once
hard-
you release the one, they're expecting the next one, but then
Exactly,
they don't
but-
understand it takes a long time behind the
Usually,
scenes.
It's hard,
Yeah.
but you have to make them understand somehow. I mean, I think you gotta give them that that feel that the next one will be good. So just wait. So I try to cover it up, but with certain contents on my social networks.
That's good. So how do you deal with the negative comments and things like that? Stress.
There's few types of negative comments. Like some people, they criticize your work in a way that they want you to take it in and improve it, which I really respect. And
Constructive criticism.
exactly,
Yeah.
we need that. Every artist needs that,
100%.
and that's what. Maybe at that point of time we might have that ego and be like, nah, okay. But one day you're in the studio, you'll be recording, that would hit you in your mind. You're like, okay, let's improve it. Some comments will be more of a bullying perspective point of view. Like,
Do you
they will-
respond, or do you respond to those?
No, never. And some comments, if I see them targeting me or other people part of the video in a bad bullying way, I would delay it, because that's not something that other people should see and be encouraged to do more. But yeah, just those type of comments, I don't mind it at all. I just be like, okay, you're doing your job. That's what you're capable of doing. This is what I'm doing.
Usually when an artist makes a song, they make a video, they put it out, and they leave it as that. But then you go to the next step and you work on the promotion side of things. How do you find the right avenues, and how do you go about promoting your music? Because I feel like a lot of up and coming artists have trouble getting their sound heard from a lot of people.
It's all about connections and marketing, man. Like, it took me 6 years or 7 years to create a small surrounding. So I know I have friends in the industry who would have my back no matter what. And then it's also as giving that, when you have a following, they will know that they are ready to accept anything that you give to them. But the hardest part of all of them is marketing your... You got the video, but if you want, how I see it personally is, I release a video on a Friday evening all the time.
Why?
Because that's when work ends.
Okay,
Everyone's free. From Friday to Sunday, that would give me the result if my work is a hit or not. Some people might think, why those 3 days? But how I see it is, I give all my promotion. I put so much effort into the promotion for the days before that. So if I'm making you click on that link, that would people usually say we don't care about views and stuff, but
everyone does. secretly.
They care. I
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
I care because that's the result that's gonna give me to all that hard work I've put in for the past 2 weeks of the promotion, for the past 4 months for the music video, and those 3 days, like say I release a video in those 3 days, I get like 200,000. That 200,000 would influence those other people to watch that video.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that whatever marketing posts I put up, they have to make those people be ready for Friday evening to click on it. And if that fails, then I failed. That's my fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And another thing I realize is image as an artist. A lot of artists don't think about it. I would say they would just go out and just be like, yeah, I'm an artist, but they don't look like an artist. How do you find your image? How did you find yours? Like, you have your own kind of style, your appearance, look, the way you perform and sing, like even on stage. Like, does that come over time, or like, do you have someone helping you in that kind of?
I think at the start, I didn't know how to present myself in the public side, like when you go shows or even when you're in a Tamil crowd, when you go into a crowd of events and how when people face it. I didn't know how to face it, but
Why did you get like nervous?
yeah, it was more of a nervousness, and it was more of like, are they seeing me in a funny way, or are they taking me seriously or not? And then after a certain period of time, I realized, okay, if I go on the stage, I would always. There was a specific point of time where all my friends would make fun. They would be like, "Yeah, when you go on stage, you're always wearing a blazer and a t-shirt or a shirt." And Maestro is known for blazers and stuff. It was like a little funny thing they had. But then, you have to find yourself comfortable in how you want to present yourself. So sometimes I would love myself to be suited up. Sometimes I would love myself to be casual like this. And what I started, like in your question of how I be in front of the people, I started liking people approaching me. I think when I see someone approaching me, I think it's more like I've got my arms open. I'm like, come, let's talk.
Yeah.
Because you really need that, because these are the people who's gonna buy your music or listen to your music and be really loyal to you. And it's really important to have that connection with your people.
100%.
Yeah.
So how was like your first shows? Do you like how did that go?
Well, every time I think about it,
What
it's
was
funny.
your first show? Do you remember? I'm sure
I
you
think
do.
it was Mystical Night. It was a show called Mystical Night for when I was part of GG Arts.
Okay.
An old label that was here, and I didn't know what I was doing. I got on stage. I did my portion, but I knew I messed up. But
Why? How?
because it was the first time.
Yeah.
There are certain shows you go and then the announcer or the host gets your name completely wrong.
No way.
There was one time I went on. They were like, it's Tamil guy. So I was speaking. The Tamil guy was like, yeah, அடுத்தது வருவது rapper. He's not even confident about what he's saying. Rapper, the Mystro. I'm like, okay.
Damn.
When you hear that, you're like, yo, I'm getting on stage. You're giving me some fucked up vibes.
Yeah.
And then,
did you go on stage and correct yourself, or did you just?
I don't think I had that. I think I got disappointed straight away.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? They played the song straight away. I got in, I performed, I left.
Okay.
There are some funny stories when it comes to certain shows, but you have to face all of them, I guess.
Yeah. How do you deal with the huge crowds of girls running towards you?
Good, meaning there's a reason why they are there, right?
Yeah,
it's because they like your stuff. And sometimes I'm like, yo, I don't know what to do.
Are you in a relationship?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how do you like maintain that? Like being in a relationship and also having like all these like girls come at you?
I think it's a matter of understanding.
Yeah.
With my girlfriend, she's also in a media field.
Okay.
I mean,
that's more
media field.
understand.
She's into some. She's a dancer.
Okay.
So she understands that this is what an artist's life is.
Yeah. That
And
makes sense.
it's a matter of understanding, and also when she, there are times where she will be there next to me, and all those girls will be there. She'll be just looking at them, but obviously it's more like, as long as he's not touching my man, I'm good.
No, I get that.
But
So how do you maintain your relationship and music? Because music takes a lot of time in your life. So
it does take a lot of time, but we gotta grind right now.
Yeah.
We're so young. She's a dancer, I'm a musician, and I'm always pushing her, going, yo, you need to grind right now, because I could see a future in this field of both of ours.
That's sick.
So
Power
you-
couple, pushing each other.
You have to, man. You have to, because time is going, and as an artist, if you're not giving out what you need to give, you'll get pushed away, and the next guy will come back.
That's so
It's
true.
not that you don't want the other person to grow.
Yeah.
It's that your market could easily get destroyed. And you don't want that market to be destroyed, and she knows that, and I know that about her thing too. So when
that's sick. That's really
you,
cool.
you gotta push each other, and I have to be thankful too, because she has pushed me a lot when I felt lazy, when I felt down, and when I didn't get motivated. I was always told, do it, this is gonna be a hit, do it, do it. So I think it's really needed.
Do you have like a ritual before you go on stage to perform?
A
Do you-
ritual?
Yeah, like do you do something before you go on stage every time? Like do you say something to yourself in your head every time, or do you take like you have to take a shot before you go perform, or like something?
Sometimes there are certain shows when you're there with all, like there are certain artist friends we have in the
Yeah.
industry. Like to mention names, I have Vino, Rati Aditan, Sugu, Desai. There's a lot of other people that when we're together for certain shows, sometimes we get bookings. We're all together. The vibe there,
The
even if the
energy.
show could be some bullshit, you're ready to give your 100% because that vibe you have together is like, let's kill it no matter what. You have that.
What's been the best show, hands down? Like you just be like, that show was just sick.
I think it's when we released a song last year called Pattala, and it became a really huge hit. I think for our audience within the Tamil diaspora people, the youngsters, it really worked that it was played in most of the events, parties, and when that song released, exactly 2 weeks later, I get a booking in Montreal for a
Wow.
boat party for
Wow.
to perform there. So I've already performed in Montreal before,
Okay.
but I wasn't
But not a boat party.
not a boat party, and also I didn't build my profile as much as I did for that specific event. So when I got called out there, I was like, okay, we're gonna perform there. There's gonna be a lot of people. I walk into that boat. Before the event started, I was in the boat. We did a sound check and stuff. We're like, okay, let's see how it goes. And you see the whole boat is filled up with people. You're like, okay. And for me as an artist, you need to hear the screams, those those shouts and everything to get motivated to perform. And I started performing, and almost 70% of the people knew the lyrics for each line, line by line, for
Wow.
each songs. And I was like, yo, this is how do you say? That's love right there, and that's people admiring your music. So if I can put my music across,
How did that feel?
that felt really good. You get gassed up so much. People will be like, yo, I try to stay humble, but sometimes you feel so hyped and happy and proud because you're like, yo, all that hard work somehow it reached all these people. And I see, like when I started doing music, I didn't know the reason of what I'm going to give, but after a certain point of time, I loved to entertain people. I loved to give out stuff that would keep people happy or make people think. And when I saw that at Montreal, I was like, yo, Maestro, this is more these are more reasons for you to keep carrying on. Like, this is good.
That's
That
sick.
felt good.
What do you think the direction of the Tamil music is going towards? Do you feel like it's getting more and more westernized?
It's going in a much better way. Much better way because
Better way in what way?
the thing is,
'Cause I agree with you.
people always think you need to like, is this going to give you money or not? But you have to work hard for you to be earning that money. And the way our industry is going now, there are artists that you could pick out, like in your hand and say that these guys are doing really well and these guys are making money. But that's good because your industry is leading forward, and our industry is how I see it is, you, if you like what you do, if you like what you do, and if you're working really hard to push it forward, you can make money and you can live with it, but you can't do it as only one person. You need to build
Have a
that
team.
together.
Yeah,
You don't need to. You don't really need to like talk to each other or be friendly or be together. It's, what I mean by together is like if each artist who's working really hard right now keeps working hard, you'll
yeah.
have that industry. You'll have that time where all the revenue will start coming in to your
100%.
account, and you'll be able to live off it.
100%. When artists don't feed off the ego and just help and support one another, then the whole scene will blow 100%. So what can people expect from you now? What are you working on at the moment? And
So I've got
any secret gossip you got for me?
secret gossips. Not really. I've worked. Like I said, Patala was one of our hit tracks last year, and the team has come back together again for another track, which we're gonna release hopefully by August. And the track has come out really, really well. So I think it would be another track that would be blasted in parties and stuff.
Sick. Another party track.
Party. It's like more of an underground party track. And I've collaborated again with another name. I said Rati Aditin. He's one of the best rappers we have right now, and he's one of the people that I want to see him grow, and push him as much as I can from my side.
Okay. I'll definitely link him down below. So if everyone wants
Rati
to go check him
Aditin,
out.
check him out. And I've done a track with him called Yete, and I'm working with Sudhir J.
Okay.
He's a YouTuber / director. He's from France, and for me, hands down, honestly, he's one of the most creative people that is underrated in our industry. And he's another person that I really want to see him doing really good.
I'll link him also down below. Check him
Sudhir
out.
J. And the DOP will be Presh, who's done most of my music videos till
sick.
now. After that, I've collaborated with Daniel Yogadas, who's DY from Germany, and we got a track coming out on 29th of June. So I don't know if
real soon.
it's releasing now or later.
No, it will be. It will be before then.
And then I've got my second album, which I'm working on.
Okay.
Which is I'm trying to wrap up soon, so hopefully I'll be releasing it by the end of this year.
Damn, you're working on a lot of stuff then.
Have to, man.
That's
You
sick.
have to, but it's all with heart.
So yeah, make sure you check him out down below. I'll link him. So who else is on the track?
Ratia, I'm featured with him, and the video is going to be directed by Sudhir J. He's one of the people in the industry that I feel is really underrated. As a director, he's very, very, very creative.
Sick.
And,
I'm definitely gonna check him out. Make sure you guys do as well.
And I'm sure if you check out his work, you will know why he stands out. And I'm really happy I've actually collaborated with him before for one of my music videos called Wittupo.
Okay.
And after that was more of a dark type of track. And this one's more of a party track. And he's always done, I always felt like Sudhir was always focusing the artistic point of view of music videos. And this will be his other side, which I'm really happy to bring out.
Okay.
And I will have Presh on the DOP. And other than that, I'm working on a track called, well, it's finished. It's going to be releasing on 29th of June, called
Sick.
Ma Chérie, featuring, I featured in for Daniel Yogadas, DY from Germany. So looking forward to that one.
Sick. So we've got a lot of content coming out from this guy. Make sure you check it out. I'll link it all down below. Make sure you're up to date. So who do you hang out with in the industry? Because I always hang out with people that are doing similar things to me, just so we can feed off each other's energies and things like that. What about you? What do you do in your free time, and who do you hang with?
From the industry, let's say industry, all my personal close friends, it's always quite the same. So to name them, I have Vino. He's from France. He's a singer as well, and we're always chilling together. We have Rati Aditin, one of my closest guys too. To mention especially Usha J. She's a very talented dancer from France, and she's like my little sister. And we have Sudhir J, Presh. There's a lot of people who inspires me. So I try to hang around with people who have so much positive vibes, and who also sees their passion as something that can make them happy. So I
always believe in you should surround yourself with people
The right
the right people, yeah. Because then you just shoot off negative energy, and nobody wants that.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you guys do in your free time?
I'm a movie freak. I love movies. I mean, if I wasn't a musician, I think I would have gone into something based on cinema. And
No way, like acting, or
no,
like
not acting. It was more behind the scenes of. I don't
Right.
know what, but it would
Screenplay,
be something
yeah.
to do with cinema, like even being on the set and helping out. Because I'm such a movie freak that I would want to stay updated on everything when it comes to Tamil cinema.
yeah.
And it's crazy when people think about how the amount of movies I could watch in a day, 6-7 movies. And
What did you think about the Rajini trailer?
color
Yeah.
color film. I think it wasn't bad. The way I love the way the director used Rajini to put out a message, because some people want to accept bringing a superstar and bringing a message, and also not having too much commercial content
Appeal
into
to
it.
Yeah.
And I love that he did that, because he put out Rajini in a different style.
I'd love to talk more about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, but you should watch it. I think most people didn't like it. Some people liked it.
How come people didn't like it? Because I've seen
They thought they expected more of that Rajini commercial. I don't know, flying, fighting,
okay.
and punch dialogues and shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's, for me, I hate that. It's not I hate that. I could watch it, but I love films with art and films that actually has reality. And I kind of I watch a lot of French, Korean, Japanese films, and when I look at them, and I'm like, they have so much realistic feel
That's
into
actually
it.
true.
And when there are certain people trying it in Tamil cinema, some people are finding it hard to accept it. But yeah, that's my point of view. Before Rajini people like go down and
Oh, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah blah blah. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat? What's your ultimate favorite food? Mine's burgers. I love burgers. Any burger.
chicken wings.
Chicken wings, yeah.
Chicken wings. Yo, every time I come to London, because in France the issue is they don't really have chicken wings. It's more of
What?
a kebab thing. They have chicken wings, but it won't be as tasty as the one you go in the corner shop and get for £2. Yo, like I came to London last Sunday. I think I went like 5 times.
What's the food like in France then?
It's not, the kebabs are really nice over there. The kebabs are really nice, and I live in a place where it's all surrounded by junk food.
Okay.
But if it's not kebab, then I'd probably be eating rice, mutton curry, or
I could do with
sushi.
that right
I love
now.
sushi.
Oh, sushi.
I love sushi.
too.
So yeah.
Okay, sick. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up the podcast here. Is there anything else that you wanna say before we wrap up? Or?
Support the independent artists. I think it's important because we are the future. We are the future of this generation and the next generation, and it's important that you support the independent artists as much as you support the other artists in, say, the cinema, in the Indian industry, or in the mainstream English industry, because we are trying to put out all the hard work in a way where we want our industry to grow, and through your support, we will be able to see it constantly one day, hopefully. So
I couldn't have said it better myself. This has been another episode of Be the Source. You've been watching The Maestro, your host Velan Joe, and yeah, that's a wrap.